Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to Success International Training Institute, where you learn things that will cause you to grow financially and to be better at what you're doing right now. So welcome back. Today we're talking about financial freedom. What is financial freedom? Many have described financial freedom as that position where you're in charge of your finances, where you have enough saved or invested for you to live the life that you desire. Really, that life does not only affect you, it affects others around you, those who you love or those you're responsible for. So you see why it's important to have financial freedom, for you to be able to give those persons that kind of life that you would want them to have, and for you to have yourself. Okay, so how do you gain financial freedom? One thing that you need to do is to stop living like everybody else. Live your own journey. Live what you can afford. Because when you live like the Joneses, that you so desire and aspire to be like, what you do is to find yourself borrowing to sustain a lifestyle because you can't afford it. What you also do is to spend on unnecessary things, things that you don't need, things that you have no yearning for, but it's because someone else has it that you desired it. And what that does is to put you into a much deeper financial crisis. So I want you to really look at your own self, look at what you can afford and desire to be what you want to be. So if you live like the Joneses, or you want to live like the Joneses, how do you know the sacrifices they've made to have the kind of life they have? How do you even know it's genuine? How do you know what it is that they desired to have? And how do you know that they're not living like other people? I want you to spend time examining what you want, what you desire, what you can and cannot afford. And that's what I want you to focus on. A second thing I want you to do is to have less fun. Doesn't sound good, don't. However, financial freedom requires changes. And I'm not saying in any way that you must not have fun. What I'm saying, if you want financial freedom, you can't decide that you're going to take the same number of vacations you did before. You're going to have the dinners in a restaurant as you did before. You're going to be shopping the same way you did before. Whatever enticed you, whatever caused you to really enjoy yourself, take another look at it. And you have to begin to realize that some changes are needed. Fun is good, but reduce some amount of fun so that you can save some money. Financial freedom also means some amount of planning, financial planning. So there are several tools out there for you to be able to do financial planning, but we're not going to be talking about those tools in this video. We want to focus on just the very practical steps in financial planning, what it entails. Financial planning really means assessing what you have, the goals you want to reach, and how you're going to get there. Now, these goals may be, I believe you want to take them in small steps because those are easier to achieve. And then when you achieve those smaller goals, that large milestone will not seem to be so unmountable. It will not be discouraging when you achieve those smaller goals. Also, in order for you to conduct financial planning, what you want to be able to do is to determine really what it is that you have. So where do you want to be? What are your goals? What are the steps you need to take in order to get there? That is what I want you to document. And as I said before, You don't have to get into any sophisticated tools. The very same notebooks and notepads you have, you write them down. What I want to encourage you to do is to write things down, not just keep them in your heads, because when you see them on paper, there is a very different reflection. It gives you an improved sense of where you are. So financial planning is very important. The other step to financial freedom is reducing your expenses. Okay, so do you know what those expenses are that you have? Have you been hiding some? One of the first things I want you to do this evening, once you're finished watching this video, is to begin writing down all your expenses. I mean, all your expenses, from the very minor ones that you never thought about, from the ones that are major that you don't want to face and you don't want anybody to hear or to see. I want you to write them down. I told you just now in financial planning that when you write things down, it brings things into focus, into perspective. So, document all your expenses. Then, I want you to categorize your expenses. There are some expenses that you need to get rid of. There are some expenses that you need to reduce. There are some expenses that you need to set aside for another time. Categorize all those expenses, because in financial freedom, one of the things you want to be able to do is to have more money than you actually make. And so categorizing those expenses allows you to begin to put things into action. So if you have expenses that you can eliminate, what have you been spending on that you really don't need? What are some of the things that you are doing now that you can reduce? For example, one of the things we spend a lot on without even thinking about it is the cost of telephone calls. Can be quite expensive. So once you have categorized those expenses, you want to begin to action those expenses. Meaning, immediately after you've done that, you now need to begin to search through those things that you need to eliminate, get rid of, those expenses that you don't really need. Those that you need to reduce, you begin to put things into action to reduce them. So, like turning off one of your television sets when you're not watching it. Unplugging appliances that you're not using. Those will save utilities. Another of your expenses that you may not even think of is every time you're going out, you probably need a new suit. Not necessary if you're on a journey to financial freedom. Reduce your expenses as much as you can. Remember, financial freedom takes action. The action begins with you. And as I said before, when you begin to write things down, because you're seeing it face to face, it is going to really give you an opportunity to reflect and to do some things differently this time. Another step to financial freedom is to increase your income. How do you increase your income when you're working for others, maybe? Well, it means the very likely step you need to take is to start a business. So, what skills or products or service do you have to offer that can solve a problem for someone? We all have skills. We all have something to sell that someone else is willing to buy because it solves a problem for them. So if you want to increase your income, I want you to take some time to reflect on those skills that very likely you have been giving away over time. Very likely you didn't even know that those skills could have been sold, but indeed they can. Financial freedom is going to mean you're putting more money in your pocket. And one of the ways to put more money in your pocket is to increase your income. We just spoke about another way, which is to reduce your expenses, because you see, there is a balance that you need to strike. One is where you are spending less than you earn. Another is where you're increasing your income so that you have more money now to save and to invest than you had before. If you're on the same level, meaning if you are earning the same amount that you're spending, that is not going to change your financial position. So if you want to get to a place where you can save more, where you can achieve that goal to financial freedom, you have to be earning more. From the amount that you earn, you have to be keeping more of that money in your pocket. To keep that money means you need to be spending less. So determine whatever you have to sell, whatever you can do, especially in these times, to increase your income. I want you to get to planning that. I want you to improve yourself. I want you to take some time. It could be that you spend 30 minutes planning or just brainstorming. What can I do? And you'd be surprised. If you don't know what skills you have or how you can identify those skills, I want you to go back to our previous video, spotting opportunities, and see what it is that you can do in order to spot those opportunities. Finally, I want to tell you that financial freedom comes with a willingness to change. None of us get to reaching our goals without really making the effort, without really taking time out to put thoughts and plans into action. That step begins with us. Financial freedom comes with sacrifice. It means whatever you've been doing before, the lifestyle that you've been living and that caused you to be in this position right now where you're seeking to be free financially, where you're seeking to be better than you were before, and to be able to save and to be able to take trips and to be able to fill your prescription, to be able to drive the car that you desire. It's going to take changes. It's going to take lifestyle changes. Those changes come with incremental steps, because remember, we build up attitudes over time. And especially the attitudes that are not so right, those that have not contributed positively to our growth, they are the most difficult ones to change. And so if you want to change those attitudes, you're going to have to be patient. You're going to have to be desirous of change. You're going to have to find ways to encourage yourself. I can talk to you, but the best person to change is you. You have to find that will within. And sometimes we find ourselves in spots that we have no choice but to change. So that right mindset, where you know you can no longer live like this, where you know the life you desire so much is out there, you have to take that very first step. So get to planning, get to reducing your expenses, get to starting a business, get to living your own life, not the life of others. I want to thank you again for tuning in and listening to us today. Remember, if you're not yet a subscriber, please subscribe to our channel. Leave us a comment. Let us hear what your feedback is on our discussion. What topic would you like to hear? And remember to share and invite others to tune in next time. Thank you so much.